It is week 2 of PFR on Lakeshore PBS. Tonight, we get it rolling for a big second week of the regular season, Wayne. Some great matchups tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. We have some great matchups tomorrow, and we had some great games we can talk about last week, too.
Yeah.
But tomorrow night, we've got a couple
of
we need to watch.
Matchups. We'll have all that and more coming up next on PFR.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
Some great plays and great games in week 1 of the high school football season, Wayne.
What surprised you last week?
Obviously, Valpo.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
The way their defense controlled the game, and they'll be tested again tomorrow night, but Valpo has been outstanding in terms of their defense through week 1. I'm sure they're looking for more out of their offense, but
right.
I think Valpo in week 1 was obviously the big surprise. And the way Andrean came out of the gate, although I hear my people are telling me they dominated Lake Central in this scrimmage as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I heard that too.
All right. So we are got some highlights to look at. It is week 1 of PFR Rewind. PFR Rewind for week 1. Now let's get it going with this week's Players of the Week. Offensive side of the ball, Wayne. Anthony Maceo with 5 TDs, all rushing, ran for 209 yards, threw a little. We've heard that he's thrown the ball much better than last season,
yes.
But didn't see a lot of it. We'll see if their running game ever gets shut down, whether he can go up in the air and throw it down the field.
Boy, he's going to have to do that against Lowell. Jager Gill, boy, does he have speed for Lowell. 94-yard kickoff return. He had a 76-yard reception. We had that on the highlights. And then he had one interception versus Crown Point.
Zach Mondello, what a opener he had, 4 TDs. He'll be tested this week against Homewood Flossmoor.
They are Lincoln Way. Lincoln Way from.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've got them
right.
confused with Michigan City. With Lincoln Way Central. And then Mike McCullough from Michigan City. They had a big drive late to win the game against Griffith. And Teely Ryan, of course, the outstanding running back from Andrean, had a big opener as well for the 59ers. Defensive players of the week.
You
Wayne.
got to go with Valparaiso's defense. I'll tell you, they held Penn to 87 total yards offense. And then you've got Lowell held Crown Point to only 18 yards rushing. And then Chase Triplett from Michigan City had a big interception versus Griffith.
Tim Johnson and Cassius Wade played some good football for Morton, had some turnovers in their opening night win against Highland. How about some special teams players of the week? We got plenty of those.
Boy.
Number 6 with a 93-yard kickoff return against Crown Point.
Greg Millich from Portage had an 88-yard kickoff return there versus Mishawaka.
Nick Barbosa from Whiting had a punt return against Clark. And of course, the unknown player of the week. They reached celebrity status tonight, Wayne.
This first
on
one.
the opening. Now they've graduated. They can be big-time players of the week.
That's right. That's
Louis
right.
Razzo. What a night he had. Yeah.
3 TDs, 237 yards. Zach Morale from Andrean had 3 TDs versus Merrillville.
I think Zach Merrill.
Merrill.
And Jake Osborne, all 5'7" of him. 3 TDs. He had a big game on the ground.
Big game for South Central. And then Griffin Belt from Wheeler had 2 TDs against River Forest.
All right, time for the poll, the Little 5. Let's see how that checks in after the first week of the regular season. Did Rensselaer get demoted, or were they not in the poll?
No, they they won, but Knox really did a heck of a job.
Knox had a
last week.
good opener.
Yes, they did. Wheeler, that's just kind of surprised. Wheeler really stepped
You know,
up and played well.
I've heard low in numbers, but you can win football games with 30 guys.
Yep.
And let's see how they match up with KV. KV
Yeah.
had kind of a tougher opener against Rensselaer. Well, so that's kind of an interesting matchup this week.
And Hanover Central, nice big win for them against Knoll. And Whiting on Saturday beat.
Whiting looked good. And we'll see. They got a tough matchup. Kudos to those two teams, Whiting and Griffith, for playing each other now. That's going to be an excellent matchup. All right, the big time poll, the PFR top 10. We got new number 1. New number 1
It's
team.
not
Wayne.
Merrillville. Merrillville is 10.
Yeah.
They did not play well last week.
Maryville's lucky to be 10.
Yes.
I
Crown Point.
kind of thought Lake Central should have got the spot at number 10.
You're right. You're probably right there. I didn't get that message though. But the Crown Point at number 9, Chesterton at number 8, who really surprised
Wayne, it was the
people.
first week of the regular season.
That's right.
You and I weren't communicating really well. That's what preseason for. That's what the scrimmages
That's right.
are for.
That's right.
We have to work on our communication here and practice here for this next week.
Griffith at 7, Portage at 6. Portage, how do you score 45 points? Well, anyway.
And lose, yeah.
Andrean at 5. 4 is Michigan City. Lowell is 3. And then LaPorte comes in at number 2 because the new number 1 is Valparaiso
LaPorte
Vikings.
was awesome last week, and they got moved from 1 to 2.
I
think
know.
that'll all be settled next Friday night, I believe. Though.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Valpo LaPorte
Yep.
next Friday
Big
night.
one.
The Vikings deserve it, though.
Yep.
Knocking off Penn to be number 1 in this week's poll. That is awesome. All right. We have a new mascot madness this week, Wayne. Once a brickie, always a brickie.
Always a brickie.
What is a brickie?
Hobart Brickies were named after the brickyards that existed here in Hobart. that provided bricks throughout the Midwest. Cities as far as Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland, all got bricks manufactured from the brickyards. The brickyards closed shortly after the Depression, probably in the late 30s when they stopped producing bricks in the brickyard, hence the name, the Brickies. The name Brickies was actually being used in the school in about 1935. In 1942, George Zepko was a prankster. He was a senior, and the first day or so of school, he decided to write Johann Petrovich's name in as a joke to the study hall teacher. And that gag kind of lasted for at least the first few days of the school year. We actually found a transcript and an official diploma for Johann Petrovich that the school liked and that they, embraced it, and it's still an official document of our school records. I believe we have over 20 Johanns throughout the community at various businesses and locations. The Bricky Clinic has one decked out in medical garb that's really interesting and stuff. And all you have to do is look at the physique of Johann here, and you can see that he's chiseled out of what you would think would be a typical individual that would work in the bricking industry, whether he be laying brick or whether it be manufacturing them in the brickyards. And you can see that he's barrel-chested, strong arms, and whatnot. So I think we captured our school mascot in the way that we like to view our community, and that's a tough, blue-collar community that works hard all the time. We have a saying here at Hobart High School, once a brickie, always a brickie. And we also say, all my life I want to be a brickie, work, work, work. And it talks about the brickie spirit and the fact that it's not a concrete thing, but it's something that, lingers on people's minds and rests with people and instills them to have a lot of pride in their community and in their school too as well.
That was awesome.
That was really an excellent segment.
I think he caught the flavor of that.
Yes.
And that is a great mascot that they have in the school.
That is. It's tough to get him on the field.
Yeah, I don't know. But that mascot screams toughness.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I like that. All right, don't forget tomorrow night, folks, we will have PFR Scoreboard live here at 10:30 right here on Lakeshore PBS. And Wayne will be working hard before that, though.
Yeah.
6 o'clock, Wayne and Tommy Williams on
Game night.
Yeah, and game night on 89.1 Lakeshore Public Radio. So
that's right.
Yeah, listen
in.
in.
It was fun last week. A lot of fun.
You guys sounded good. Listen in and then watch us on Friday Night Live after the games for scores and highlights. All right, time for another edition of Throwback Thursday. We're going back to 2005. LaPorte at Maryville. The Slicers were 5-0, taking on 4-1 Maryville at Demery Stadium in a Duneland Conference showdown. Maryville battled back from a 14-point deficit late in the game and forced double overtime. Big touchdown there. LaPorte was able to come back, though, and edge Maryville with a field goal and remain undefeated to move to 6-0 with a 38-35 win.
Did you notice something really unusual about LaPorte's offense? They're throwing the ball. They don't do much of that anymore.
They don't need to. They don't do much of that anymore. We're going to go to a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the game of the week. We'll preview it. We'll have Wayne's picks right after this on PFR.
For more information on everything Prep football, visit us on Facebook or on Twitter at PFR Sports.
some great games out there this week. We talked about Mishawaka at Valpo, talked about Whiting at Griffith.
Whiting and Griffith, boy, that's going to be a real good one.
We picked the Lowell at Portage as our game of the week, though, Wayne. What do you think?
Hey, I think this is going to be an outstanding game. I mean,
All right.
you've got a great offense and a team that can play defense.
Well, that's enough from you.
Okay.
Well, let's go out to T-Dub. I think
Okay, here's the checklist. Lowell beat a Duneland Conference school last week, held them to only 18 yards rushing and had a bunch of big plays during the game. But the question is, was the head coach happy after the game? Let's find out about that. Keith Kilmer, the coach of the Lowell Red Devils, joining us right now. And Coach, were you happy with the way your team played that night?
We were happy with the win. There's no doubt about that. It was an ugly win. We got to work Saturday morning to fix some mistakes, and that's what playing Crown Point's all about. They usually show us our weaknesses early, and I like the way we competed, but we got a lot of things we got to clean up.
Jaeger Gill had a heck of a game for you Friday, broke a couple of big plays for you.
You know what, that kid, it's been said in the statement that he's been in Jordan's shadow, and Jaeger's a pretty good athlete, and he came out in that first kickoff return and pretty much lit the fire into the belly of the kids, and I knew we were going to be in for a pretty good night as far as competition-wise, and I couldn't be happier for that kid. He's worked his tail off this summer and throughout his career, and we're going to expect a lot more things out of him this year.
For those who have not dealt with Jordan, what does he bring to the table as far as leadership is concerned?
Well, I mean, he's such a natural. He has that natural instinct. He just has that football knowledge that kids these days really don't have, as they're learning more from the Xbox than they are from playing in the backyard, and it's so natural to him. So, when he does something or he sees something, he's able to show it to his teammates a lot easier than sometimes it is for us coaches, and the kids just follow him, and it's always nice when you got one of those type of athletes for your other players. They know they can lean on him, and they know they can take risks, and they can play out of their comfort zone because he's got their back. And he's been doing it for us for 3 years in one game, and like I said, I look forward to watching the next couple months.
Before I let you go, Anthony Macio was the quarterback of Portage. You know what happened against Mishawaka. He had 5 touchdowns in that game. He's going to be one heck of a target to stop on Friday.
He's tough. There's a lot of good kids in the region, and he's right up there at the top of them. I like him. Just last year, he's just such a competitor. He might not be as skilled as some, but he's just one of those kids that he refuses to lose, and you can see that when he plays. So, we got to match that intensity and come out and play assignment football and make sure that we're disciplined in everything we do and try and slow them down. I don't know if we'll stop them, but, we need to slow them down, and then our offense needs to pick it up and try and keep them off the field.
Congratulations on the nice start. Good luck against Portage.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming out.
Piece of cake, man. No problem. Speaking of coming out, we're heading out now to Portage to talk to their football camp about their matchup against these guys, the Lowell Red Devils. And here we are at Portage as the Indians prepare for their matchup against Lowell on Friday. Darren Rodriguez, their fine head coach, joining us here to talk about that. Now let's talk about defense and your football team last week. Had a tough night against Mishawaka. Lowell could put some points on the board. How do you stop those guys from doing the same thing again this week?
Well, I just think it's about execution, doing your job. On the defensive side, we just had a couple breakdowns. And when you look back at film, our kids on Saturday morning, we talked a lot about making sure it was just 1 or 2 guys out of position or overrunning something. You play a team like Mishawaka, it's got to be disciplined. You got to be able to do your assignment all the time. So it was tough. It's a hard first game. I told our kids at the end of the game, though, I said, this doesn't define our season. I said, we have a lot more games going. We have to recover and kind of figure out things and start at square one again about how good of a defense we want to be, how good of a team overall we want to be. So I think our kids bought into it. Obviously Lowell provides a lot of different things because they have some weapons, but I think overall our kids are up to the challenge.
Offensively, they have weapons, but also those same weapons can hurt you on special teams as well.
Yeah, both of those guys, Gill and Jucevic, deep. I mean, we definitely are aware that they're back there, and I think when you got that threat, it really kind of changes how you approach the special teams game, how you want to kick the ball. They have some guys. Well, I think one of them does the punt returns also, so it makes it hard. and you just got to kind of scheme because you don't want them to touch the ball and be the guys that beat you on a special teams play. So we're going to do some things to kind of hopefully prevent some of that from happening, but we'll see.
There'll be a pretty good offensive weapon wearing red and white on Friday night. His name's Maceo, and that guy had a heck of a game against Mishawaka.
Yeah, he did. He's a great athlete. You know, with our system, it's tailor-made for him. An option quarterback who likes to run. He's done a good job of working on the passing game, but his strength is running the football, and he knows that. He's come along. I think the biggest thing, though, for us offensively is getting the guys up front. Offensive line did a really good job of getting some things blocked, and then our fullback, getting some different pieces with fullbacks and the wings to kind of contribute definitely helps our offense. So it takes a little bit more of the burden off of Anthony and kind of makes teams defend everybody on the field.
You have Lake Central next week. How important is it to pick up a W against Lowell, knowing that you have that very hard Duneland Conference schedule ahead of you?
Well, you definitely want to get in the winners column. I think the morale and how the kids feel about it, that helps. But I think how you play is also a key factor. You can lose and still feel good about how you played. And I think, last week we played well on offense and I felt good on that, but we want to get the defensive side to feel well also and know. But obviously a win is going to be really key to us. And I know Lowell wants to go 2-0. So you're going to have two really, I think, good teams who have a lot of weapons, and it should be a great game.
Knock 'em out, partner. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, that's your matchup, Portage versus Lowell. That's our game of the week, which brings about the question. Joe, Wayne, who you got?
Peyton Schreiber for Lowell. We saw the pick that he threw, but he made some plays as well.
Oh, he did.
Which was key to open up the lead against Crown Point. He's going to need to try to do the same thing, not make the big mistakes if he's playing tomorrow night, and make some plays on offense, especially in the pass game,
right?
To open up the running game.
And that was a big question I had: is he going to start and will he play a lot? Because he stepped in and really played well, except for that one pick.
I mean, the throw to Gill was beautiful.
That was right on the
Caught
money.
him in stride. He didn't have
yeah.
to slow down. I mean,
Yep.
We've talked about the particulars here, Wayne, with Maceo, with Gill, and Justovich. So I mean, it's obviously a matchup. You got to love how T-Dub went right to the right for the jugular. Isn't that hey? Those coaches see Tommy Williams coming. They better know he's going to ask him. He's going to ask him all the tough questions, baby. How about the defense? But Coach Rodriguez is right. They got to have some success defensively and try to start taking some pressure off their offense.
Most coaches will tell us, that from week 1 to week 2 is the big improvement week.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that defense does improve.
And obviously the first week is harder to prepare for
Sure.
because you're not showing as much. Hopefully they'll have a little more of a sense of what Lowell's going to do. All right, Lowell and Portage tomorrow night. Highlights coming your way. Wayne likes the Red Devils. No surprise there.
Well, this is going to be a good game. People need to get out and see this one.
Yeah.
I'm picking Lowell just because of the, killer tandem that they have. If they put them on special teams, both of them at the same time, it's going to be tough to defend that.
Kudos for these schools for playing each other. This is
Yes.
an excellent matchup. Right. All right, time now for Wayne's World. Well, you weren't great, but you never really are to start the season.
No, it takes me a while. You're right.
I kind of like your chances this week. Things look a little, maybe a little rosier, but we always think that, and then
Yes.
there's surprises.
Yes.
One week does not really give you a good
it doesn't.
indication of what's going on.
And especially since so many teams are playing Illinois schools.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
All right, you like Valpo, so do I.
I like Valpo. Mishawaka's not going to score 47 on them. And I like Crown Point to come back, and they played pretty well against Lowell. And I like Penn, unfortunately, to beat Maryville.
How do you pick Penn, Wayne? You like Lincoln Way Central?
I do. I like Lincoln Way. I know you're taking Lake Central on this one.
I'm taking LC. I'm a believer. They had a great start.
Boy, they did.
Bundella was off to a great start. I think he's going to play well enough for them. This was a close game last year. LC lost at home to Lincoln Way Central 24-21. Lake Central defense is going to have to step up on the road. They had a solid opener.
Yes, they did.
This should be a very competitive ball game.
I agree. But this Illinois school, they're in top division, and they're tough to play. This next one also, Greg Bazia is back. We used to coach at Portage, coached at the Michigan City, and he is now at home with Flossmoor, and it's going to be a tough game for...
And you like Chesterton over Munster.
I do. I like Chesterton over Munster in that big one.
You liked Andrean over Knoll and Wheeler over KV.
Right. Burbank over Hammond.
We don't know
And
what
I really like Gavitt, and I like Plymouth, unfortunately. East Chicago is going to make a rebound here.
They had a great-
Lake Station is going to pick up this one, I think.
EC had a really nice opener. They had some balanced offense rushing the ball.
South Central scored a bunch of points last week. I'm taking them. Hanover Central was really on fire. And I like Whitey, even though it's at Griffith. This is going to be a good one.
All right. I like the Panthers to rebound. Their speed and their depth could be the difference against a smaller school, 4A, 2A matchup, Wayne. I think Griffith played really good last week. They just played a 5A Michigan City team who found a way to win in the end, Griffith pushed them to the limit. I like Griffith to get off the schneid at home against Whitey.
I like Pioneer. They're just really too strong. Knox had a great effort last week, and Caston, Dorth Judson needs to get on the winning track with Caston.
My Jays got shut out. That was not good.
Yeah. I like Roosevelt over Chicago Vocational. West Side gets on the winning track against Woodstock.
You like Bowman?
I do. I like Bowman. They scored a bunch of points last week. And Rensselaer over North Newton, a big game there.
I think North Newton got shut out. Yeah. Played outstanding defense, but they got shut out.
Right.
That's kind of a surprise. Friday Night Live, 10:30, PFR Scoreboard. We'll see you then on Lakeshore PBS. Good night.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?